The cafe was filled with the quiet hum of conversations, clinking cups, and the faint scent of roasted coffee beans. But for Lily Morgan, time stood still. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the hem of her soft pink dress, the one she thought made her look less big. She'd spent hours getting ready for this blind date, imagining maybe, just maybe, this would be her chance to finally feel loved again. But now, across the table, the man she had hoped to impress leaned back, eyes narrowing, mouth twisting with disgust. "I'm sorry," he muttered, glancing around nervously. "You just don't look like your picture. I thought you'd be slimmer." The words landed like a knife. Her throat tightened, but she forced a small smile, pretending not to care. "That's okay," she whispered. But as he stood up and left without another word, her world blurred into the sound of laughter from a nearby table, the bitter smell of coffee, and the aching weight of humiliation pressing down on her chest. She stared at the empty chair in front of her, the untouched latte, the 2 slices of cheesecake, one she had ordered just to share. In that moment, she wished she could disappear. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and love that sees beyond appearances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because what happens next might just restore your faith in humanity. As Lily blinked back tears, a small voice suddenly giggled from the next table. "Daddy, that lady's sad," a little girl said softly, her bright blue eyes wide with concern. Lily looked up, startled. Across from the child sat a man, broad-shouldered, a few strands of silver in his dark hair, his face carrying the quiet tiredness of someone who's seen too much but still tries to smile. He turned toward Lily, his warm brown eyes meeting hers for a moment before he gently spoke to his daughter. "It's okay, sweetheart," he said quietly. "Sometimes people forget how to be kind." Lily quickly looked down, embarrassed. But before she could even think of escaping, the man stood up and walked toward her. "Excuse me," he said, his voice steady but gentle. "You look like someone who could use some company. My daughter and I were just about to order dessert. Would you mind joining us?" At first, Lily wanted to say no. Her instinct told her to run, to hide before anyone else could see her this broken. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw no pity, no judgment, just kindness. Something inside her, something small and bruised, whispered stay. She hesitated. I don't want to bother you." "You wouldn't be," he said simply. "I think we could all use a little more company today." So she joined them. His name was Ethan Walker, a single dad raising his 6-year-old daughter, Emma. He told her he was a mechanic, had been widowed 3 years ago when his wife passed away from cancer. Life, he said, hadn't been easy, but he learned to appreciate small joys, like pancakes on Sunday mornings and bedtime stories that always ended with laughter. Lily listened, slowly relaxing, the warmth returning to her chest. She told him she was a nurse, that she'd always wanted to help people heal, but she was still learning how to heal herself. She didn't tell him that she'd been rejected more times than she could count, not just in love, but in life. For being too fat, too plain, too much. But she didn't have to say it. Ethan seemed to understand without words. Emma insisted that Lily try her ice cream, giggling when Lily made a silly face. And for the first time in a long while, Lily laughed. Not the polite kind of laugh she used to hide behind, but a real one, the kind that came from somewhere deep and forgotten. That night, when she got home, she looked in the mirror. For once, she didn't see someone who wasn't enough. She saw a woman who had survived every cruel word, every rejection, and still showed up with hope. Over the next few weeks, Ethan and Lily met again. First for coffee, then for walks in the park, then for quiet dinners at his small apartment where Emma would proudly show Lily her crayon drawings. Slowly, something began to grow between them. Not the sudden, movie-like love Lily had always dreamed of, but something gentler. Something real. Still, the scars ran deep. One evening, as they walked along the river, Lily finally broke down. "Ethan," she said softly, staring at her reflection in the water, "I don't understand why you'd want to be with someone like me. You could have anyone. Someone thinner, prettier, someone who doesn't come with all this baggage." Ethan didn't hesitate. He stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Lily, I lost my wife when I thought life couldn't get any darker. But you," his voice trembled slightly, "you've reminded me that light can find its way back. You're not too much of anything. You're exactly enough." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she let them fall without shame. And as Emma ran up with a handful of daisies, shouting, "Look what I found for you, Miss Lily," she realized she was already part of their little world. Months passed, and Lily's confidence bloomed. She stopped hiding behind oversized clothes and began embracing herself, her curves, her laughter, her kindness. She even started a small online support group for women who struggled with body image, using her story to inspire others. But one afternoon, while she was at the hospital, the same man who had rejected her that day at the café appeared at the ER with a broken arm. He froze when he saw her in her nurse's uniform, kindness shining in her eyes. "Lily," he whispered, ashamed. She smiled softly. "Good to see you again. Let's get you fixed up." There was no bitterness in her voice. No revenge. Only peace. Because she had already healed. Later that night, Ethan came to pick her up after her shift, Emma asleep in the back seat. As Lily slipped into the car, he reached over and took her hand. "You know," he said quietly, "I used to think love was something that just happened once. But you showed me it can happen again, and even better." She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder as the city lights blurred past. For the first time in her life, Lily felt safe, loved, and seen, not for what she looked like, but for who she was. Their story wasn't about perfection. It was about healing together, one broken heart, one gentle moment at a time. And maybe that's what real love is, not fireworks or grand gestures, but the quiet understanding that you don't have to change to deserve someone's heart. You just have to be brave enough to open your own. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's spread love that sees beyond appearances and remind the world that kindness still exists. Sparkle's special request. Comment below with the words, "Kindness wins." If you believe everyone deserves love, no matter how they look or what they've been through today. As the night deepened and the car disappeared down the quiet road, a single thought echoed softly. Sometimes, rejection isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning of the one you truly deserve.